Welcome to Manapadi. Today we are going to talk about equivalent fractions. What is an equivalent fraction? All the equivalent fractions represents the same part of the whole. Let me explain with an example. Here there are three pizzas. All these three pizzas are divided into different equal parts. Let me write fraction for this pizza. This pizza is divided into two equal parts, and in that only one part is shaded. So out of two equal parts, one part is shaded. So we are writing 1 upon 2. And here the same pizza is divided into four equal parts and two parts are shaded. So the fraction becomes 2 by 4. That is nothing but 2 upon 4. And the same pizza is divided into 6 equal parts here, and 3 parts are shaded, so the fraction becomes 3 by 6. And observe, all these fractions are different in numbers, but all these represents the same portion. Here all these represents the same part of the whole. All represents the half of the whole. So equivalent fractions are nothing but they represents the same part of the whole but with different pieces. Here the portion occupying the occupied by the fractions are same but with different pieces. So equivalent fractions represents the same part of the whole. So all these fractions are called equivalent fractions because they represents the same portion every time, each time. And let me write the simplest form of this 2 by 4. The simplest form of this 2 by 4 is 1 by 2, and the simplest form of 3 by 6 is also 1 by 2. So the simplest form of all the fractions is also the same. So all these are equivalent fractions. This 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 and 3 by 6, all these are equivalent fractions. Let me write one more equivalent fractions. This 4 by 8 is also an equivalent fraction. The equivalent fractions can be obtained by multiplying both the numerator and denominator with the same number. This 4 by 8 is the equivalent fraction of 1 by 2. This can be obtained by multiplying both the numerator and denominator with the same number 4. The fraction becomes 4 by 8. And let me write one more equivalent fraction of 1 by 2. Let's multiply both the numerator and denominator with the same number 5. The fraction becomes 5 by 10, and this is the equivalent fraction of 5 by 10. Now you can write easily the equivalent fraction of 1 by 2 is 6 by 12. This is also equivalent fraction. This can be obtained by multiplying with the same number, both the numerator and denominator with the same number 6. And equivalent fractions can also be obtained by dividing both the numerator and denominator with the same number. Here, let me write fraction for this. Here the chocolate is divided into 16 equal parts. Out of 16 equal parts, 4 parts are shaded. And let me write the same chocolate is divided here into 4 parts and 1 part is shaded. Now the fraction becomes 1 by 4. So this 4 by 16 is the equivalent fraction of 1 by 4 because by dividing it with the same number, the fraction becomes 1 by 4. This is nothing but 1 by 4. So this 4 by 16 is the equivalent fraction of 1 by 4. So equivalent fractions can be obtained by multiplying and dividing. Multiplying or dividing both the numerator and denominator with the same number. This 4 by 16 can be obtained by multiplying the numerator and denominator with the same number 4 by 16 has obtained. And to obtain the equivalent fraction of 4 by 16, you have to divide both the numerator and denominator with the same number 4. Now the fraction obtained is 1 by 4. So equivalent fractions can be obtained by multiplying or dividing both the numerator and denominator with the same number. Now you know that all the equivalent fractions contain the same simplest form. The simplest form of all the equivalent fraction is same. Suppose if you take 2 by 4, 3 by 6 and 4 by 8, the simplest form of all these fractions is 1 by 2. So all these fractions are equivalent fractions. Now, what is the simplest form? The simplest form is nothing but here the 1 by 2. The simplest form, its numerator and denominator has no common factor other than 1. Here 1 and 2 doesn't contain any common factor other than 1. So it is in its simplest form. Let's take one more example, 1 by 3. This 1 by 3 is also in its simplest form because it doesn't contain any common factor other than 1. But if you take 3 by 6, it has the common factor. Both the numerator and denominator's common factor is 3. And here 2 by 4, both the numerator and denominator common factor is 2. And if you take 4 by 8, both the numerator and denominator common factor is 2 and 4. So all these are containing the common factors. So all these are not in the simplest form. Let me take one more example. To find out the simplest form of a fraction, you have to first find out the HCF of both the numerator and denominator and divide it by the HCF. Suppose if you have taken 36 by 48, both the numerator and denominator contains the common factors 2, 4, 3, 6 and 12. And there are more than one common factor, so we need to take the highest common factor. This is nothing but HCF. This is the one way of finding the HCF, but every time finding out the factors is not easy. Then now the another way of finding out the HCF is, let's factorize both the numerator and denominator and find out the uniform numbers is the one way. To factorize, you have to take the least common integer 2. First, you need to start with the least common integer. Now, 2, 18 jar are 36, 2, 9 jar 18 and 2 will not go. Now, let's take 3. 3 3 jar 9 and 3 1 jar 3. Now this 36 can be expressed as 2 into 2 into 3 into 3. And also 48 can be expressed as, let's start with the least common integer 2, 2 24s and 2 12s and 2 6 jar and 2 3 jar and next 3 1 jar. And this 48 can be expressed as 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 3. Now let's find out the uniform numbers in both the values. So the HCF of both the numbers is 2 into 2 into 3. Sorry, let me take the pen. 2 into 2 into 3. Here there is no 2 here in 36 and there is no 3 in the 48. So here the uniform numbers are 2, 2 and 3. So the HCF becomes here 12. To find out the to find out the simplest form, we need to divide both the numerator and denominator with the HCF. The HCF is, here the HCF is, let me take the pen, 36 by, the fraction is 36 by 48, and here the HCF of 36 and 48 is 12. Now let's divide with 12. The fraction becomes 3 by 4. This 3 by 4 is the simplest form of 36 by 48 because this 3 by 4 doesn't contain any common factors other than 1. And this is about equivalent and simplest form. If you have any queries, please comment on the comment section. Please do share, subscribe and like. Thank you, children.